Aloha there, fellow palm nuts. Hopefully you guys can see me live streaming right now. We just got a new router slash modem hooked up the other day, so I want to test this thing out. It's funny, they took the old one away that we had for probably 15 years or so, or more, when we got the high speed, and I think it was past its prime. And then he came and set up another one, and it was a last year's model, but a new one. So Wendy called them, and they brought a brand new 2020 model. So hopefully it seems to be working okay. And if you're out there, tune in for sure and leave your comments. It is 3:46 p.m. here, Pacific time. Current temperature is 18.1 degrees Celsius with 54% humidity. We had rain yesterday, which was awesome for the garden. It's very jungly out there, folks, and it saves us a lot of watering when we do get the rain. So as you know from my last podcast, Palmcast live stream, I trashed my lower back. So I went to the physio slash acupuncture there a couple days ago, and I have another appointment with physio slash acupuncture tomorrow. I actually got an ice pack stuffed between my weightlifting belt and my back. So it's my right lower back that I kind of put out. And the last time I did that was in 1996, and having a sore back is not a lot of fun for you people out there that suffer sore back syndrome. So I got to really be careful when I'm lifting things. I sometimes in my mind thinks I'm a lot younger, but in reality, I'm not 21 anymore. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well out there. And I know it's just this random live stream that I'm doing here. I didn't give any warning. And the last live stream, I'm sorry, it did fail because of the router failed. It wasn't good. It was a bad connection. So this one seems to be working so far. And if you're in there, if you do pop in, just let me know the clarity of the video and how the audio is coming through. So anyway, we have a lot of things blooming in our garden right now. We have passion vines. We have a really nice tree that's blooming right now. I don't know if a lot of you know about it. It is Atlas broom tree, or a pineapple broom tree native to Morocco. And it's a very fragrant kind of pineapple scented flowers. I just shot a video of it. I will probably upload it later today or maybe tomorrow morning. But I did upload several videos today, and some of the Hawaiian rainforest. So this is definitely Trachycarpus fortunei weather that we're having right now. They are loving this temperature right now, and it's nice that the humidity is low. I thought it'd be a little bit higher today, just because we did have early morning hour, very, very little bit of drizzle. But overall, it's been a very nice day with scattered clouds here on the southern Gulf Islands. So let me know, you guys, how everything's growing out there in your garden. Let me know how your palms are doing. And that was nice to see you guys jump in there when I'm doing these live streams. And I'll try to do one, like I say, on the first Friday of every month. And now that we have the new router slash modem hooked up, it hopefully will work, and I won't cut out, and I can do an hour live stream without fading away on you. So we have a lot of palm trees in bloom right now, a lot of Trachycarpus palms. We actually have one that's never bloomed before down in the lower garden, and I did dust it with male pollen, but it seems like the majority of our palms blooming here are male. And got an old female blooming that I planted in 1987, early 1987, as a tiny plant. I bought at a nursery, and last year she took a break. She had 0 flowers on her, and this year I think she's got 3 or 4 flower pods on her. Anyway, I dusted her with some male pollen, and I took off one of the other palms in our garden, and it will get some seeds. So stay tuned for a video of that. When it does get some seed, it's like I say, a prolific self-seeder. There's a lot of baby palm trees growing at the bottom of that palm tree. I'm waiting for the first person to jump in there. I don't see anybody yet. So if you're sandy bagging on the side, don't be shy. Jump in, leave your comments. Let us know what you're growing out there. Let us know where you are. For you first-time listeners and viewers, I am located in the southern Gulf Islands, off the extreme southwest coast of British Columbia. So British Columbia is the westernmost province in Canada, and we are out here in the Pacific Ocean on a smallish type island, Salt Spring Island, and it is called Salt Spring Island because of the salt springs that are located here on the north end of the island. At one time, it was called Admiral Island, and the main village here is Ganges, named after the British naval ship, the Ganges, some HMS Ganges, and it surveyed the waters around here back in the early 1800s, I believe it was, something like that. So we have a village here. We don't have a town. We are unincorporated. So it's a very laid back place here on Salt Spring Island. And even more laid back this year because really there's been no influx of tourists. The tourists are told to stay away because of what's been going on in the world with the old pandemic running wild. We've been very fortunate here. There's been no confirmed cases here on our island, and if there was, we certainly haven't heard about it. And that's a good thing anyway. We're staying safe and people are keeping their distance. And I think the safest place to be is probably in your garden, around your palm trees and exotic plants. And remember, folks, anything that is not native to your area is an exotic plant. So it doesn't have to be a palm tree to be an exotic plant. I mean, you could grow petunias, you could grow tomatoes, you could grow Italian plum trees. So, I mean, that's an exotic plant. And that's the group I have on Facebook, is people who love palm trees and exotic plants. So, I mean, if you have an Italian plum tree, that's exotic. If it's introduced to your area from somewhere else and it's not native, it's an exotic plant, okay? And you can see the palm trees behind me. They are happy campers. A friend of ours just gave us some Miracle Grow, the thing that hooks up to the hose. It's a cartridge that hooks up to the hose. And Hal, and you've seen the videos, Hal's Saloon, he's got amazing bananas growing. And his key to success is he regularly waters and fertilizes them with this. So he gave us some to try out. And I'm going to hit our bananas with those maybe in a few more days when my back is feeling a little bit better and I can go down that slope and hit them with the fertilizer, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if it makes a difference. So, and well, it may make a difference. It sure made a difference with his, and he's actually got a really good soil with his bananas as well. But I want to hit some of the slower growing palms with them too. Tables I'll hit with some of that Miracle Grow, and we'll see what happens. We basically use a lot of composted manure and leaves and grass clippings in our garden. So we haven't been really big into chemical fertilizers, but we're definitely going to give that a shot, and we'll see if it makes a difference here. So it looks like all is quiet out there. And if it stays quiet, nobody hops in, I'll do a few more minutes of this live stream, and then we'll close her up for the day. And any of you that watch my videos will see this live stream and know that the first Friday of every month we'll be in there, and we'll chat to you with about palm trees. And also check out Wendy's channel, Gulf Island Rock. She's always uploading garden videos. And I like to also throw random videos in there as well. So, I mean, 99.9% of my channel is to do with gardening. But, the 0.1% there, we like to throw in some random stuff to break up the monotony. So you'll see some things that maybe aren't pertaining to gardening sometimes. But like I say, most of it's going to be palm trees and exotica. And I usually never leave home without my camera. So if I see something interesting on my travels, I try to get it on video. And I do like to shoot videos year-round here. Every month of the year, I shoot videos. The only months I don't shoot is when I'm on the island of Maui in the Central Pacific. So I'm shooting videos there, and then I upload them. Here, unless I bring my my PC with me to Maui. Usually Wendy brings her iPhone, but sometimes I bring the PC, but not often. A lot of times I'm computerless on Maui, and I'm just sitting back, enjoying the weather and enjoying the tropical vegetation, and just sitting back and doing nothing on a vacation. And that's the way it's supposed to be when you're on a vacation. It's just sitting back and relaxing and sitting on the beach, and sometimes watching the odd humpback whale. GD Gardens, I got 2 huge palms. You're the awesome guy. What type of palms did you get? 2 huge palms. The last huge palm I put in was 2 years ago, June. It was a 10-foot trunk trachea, and it is still very stressed out. Wendy's son and I dug it out by hand. It was growing under a huge Japanese maple in town. They didn't want it, so they phoned me up. They says, Joe, come and take the palm tree. So the only way to get it out was with shovels and a root-matic, and I did unfortunately damage a few of the roots on it, so it's still stressed out. And hopefully it will recover. It's going to take some time. So what type of palms did you get there, GD Gardens? Did you get some tracheas? Did you get some sable palmettos? What did you get? Give me the dirt. I want to know. I'd like to know what type of palms you got there. And I know you're down in Georgia, so We used to call that Jimmy Carter country. That's where Jimmy Carter was from. I don't know if you remember Jimmy Carter. You're probably way too young. He was the president at one time, and I think that's where he was from, Georgia. So, yeah, I'm sure you got some pretty hot, toasty, sticky humidity there right now, and some toasty temperatures. And I'm sure your palms are going to just love that. I'm guessing you probably got some sable palms. That's what I'm guessing. Some sable palmettos, because I know there's a lot of sable palmettos down there. That is sable country in the southeastern United States. Lots of sable miners. 1 gallon Robusta and 5 gallon Pindo. Oh, sweet. Those will do really well for you there. 1 gallon Robusta. Well, that 1 gallon Robusta is going to be a monster-sized palm in no time flat. Buddy Austin that lives in the Razorback State. At his last location, I think his grew probably 12 to 15 feet of trunk before it froze out. But it's going to need some protection in the wintertime when it gets cold. But I think most of your winters will probably be fine for Robusta. You should also try Washingtonia flifera. See how it handles that humidity down there. Flifera and filibusta is actually hardier, much slower growing in this area. But where you are, I think it's going to put on sufficient growth quick. Tony down in Dallas, Texas, has a big Washingtonia flifera in his front yard, and it is just thriving. And I remember seeing pictures of that thing when it was quite small. It's a big palm now. So yeah, I guess you're going to be planting those things then. That'll keep you busy. See, the sun is right in my eyes. I'm going to have to put up that panel soon. So if you didn't catch the first part of this live stream, it is currently 3:57 p.m. Pacific time. I have been live streaming for 11 minutes and 45 seconds. The temperature when I started this live stream was 18.1 degrees Celsius, and humidity was 54.1%. It is a beautiful day with scattered clouds out here on our island in the North Pacific, and there's not even the slightest breeze. It's actually really comfortable out here. As you know, as I said at the earlier part of this podcast, I did trash my back there a while back, and I went to the physio the other day, and I got a physio appointment and acupuncture tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be all straightened out and back to normal and ready to get roaring and snapping on Monday morning. Yeah, I can't really lift anything or do anything strenuous. So I've been doing a bit of back exercises the physio told me to do, and they told me walking is very good, but not walking down any steep slopes. And unfortunately, a lot of our garden is sloped, so I've been staying up here on the level part of the garden, and haven't had to water. We had a good rain yesterday, had around 15. I think it was around 15 millimeters of precipitation. And for you, those not into the metric system, 15 millimeters is just over half an inch of rain. And that's pretty good for this time of the year. And I do see rain in the next couple of days in the forecast, and I sure hope it pans out. Don't want a millimeter of rain. We want lots of rain. If it rains here, I want a half inch or more of rain. It really makes the garden happy. It is just unbelievable. You can see the last video I uploaded of our jungle garden, and it is really happy, especially because you can never water the way Mother Nature does it for you with rain. I think rain is just more consistent and more even distributed over the garden rather than when we water by hand. It just never seems to go in deep enough. So everything seems to be good. Bananas are growing good. Eucalyptus have a lot of growth coming out. This one beside me here still got a few flowers left on it, and the bees are still buzzing around. But on the most part, the one beside us here was a big one in bloom. It's just about finished blooming. One rhodo left in bloom. Got a really cool tree blooming right now is a pineapple broom tree native to Morocco. It is absolutely awesome. So if you ever get a chance and you can find a pineapple broom tree, look them up. The flowers smell like pineapples. They're big flowers, big tropical looking flowers. And bees like them, very drought tolerant. And it is semi-evergreen here. I think that's a tree you would probably really enjoy in your garden, and it makes a great companion plant for palm trees and other exotica. And don't be afraid to mass plant palm trees, folks. I see a lot of people sticking one palm here, one palm here, one palm here, clump them together. You see behind me there? A lot of palm trees clumped together, and it gives you a way more tropical look when you cram those palms together. I have pineapple. You have a real pineapple plant. Sweet. We have two of them I got growing from the tops. In the banana here, I have a Musa acuminata, and you just cut the top off and you stick them in. They're small, but in the garden at our condo on Maui, I have, I have about 8 pineapple plants growing in the garden from tops. I planted the first ones about 4 or 5 years ago. And unfortunately, I only go to Maui once a year in the winter months. But by the time I get there, I think the gardeners of the complex have removed the pineapples and eaten them because I've not yet seen a pineapple on there. So I'm hoping maybe my next visit, there'll be a pineapple on one of those plants. And you can see the videos of the pineapples here. They're very nice plants, bromeliad, and they look very tropical. It's I go Maui Gold. That's the one I grow. So it's a red variety. Oh, cool. That'd be nice. Ours are just the common Maui Gold, but Maui Gold are good pineapples because there's less acid in them. They're extremely sweet. And of course, they're locally grown on the island of Maui. And so we buy them at a fruit stand down at the Tropical Plantation on the way to Wailuku. Sometimes you can get them at Costco over in the Kahului area. But Maui Gold's a good one. If you ever get a chance, try a Maui Gold pineapple. You will love it. Super sweet, super juicy, and less acid. So you can eat more of it without getting sick. I remember one time I went to Hawaii. This was about 30 years ago or so. And I got really sick. And I couldn't figure out why I was sick. It was almost flu-like symptoms just from eating too much pineapple. I could not stop eating the pineapple, but the acid in the pineapple built up in my system. And of course, I was washing that pineapple back with tropical acidic fruit juice. So I went to the doctor, walk-in clinic. He says, "Are you eating a lot of tropical fruit like pineapple?" I go, "Yeah, every day." He says, "Well, stop," because it built up in my system. And I even broke out in a rash. So that was the only time I really got sick, and it lasted a couple of days. It didn't last forever, but it was from eating too much pineapple, too much acid built up in my system. It's a red variety. I think I'm going to have to check that one out, a red variety of pineapple. I know there's many varieties of pineapple, and I'll let you know pineapples are definitely not native to Hawaii, okay? They were introduced, just like a lot of other species of plants are introduced to certain regions. Citrus was introduced to Florida. Palm trees are introduced to California. There's only one native species of palm in all of California, and you probably know what it is. Native to the southwestern deserts, it's the Washingtonia flifera. Every other palm tree and most every other exotic plant you see, tropical-looking plant, was introduced into California. So, well, it makes it look a lot better, doesn't it? It just wouldn't be California without those palm trees. There's so many different species of palms that grow in California, from the south all the way into the northern coast of California and right up the coast of Oregon too. Right into the southwest coast of Oregon, you'll see a lot of the same palm trees they grow in northern coastal California. It's absolutely amazing. I've seen Cypress growing there, massive date palms, Livistona chinensis. There's lots of Trachycarpus palms, and Washingtonias, lots of Washingtonia robusta on the southwest coast of Oregon. Biggest ones I've seen have about 30 feet of trunk on them. And they don't need any winter protection in Brookings, Oregon. That is a solid Zone 9B, believe it or not, folks. The warmest and mildest climate in the Pacific Northwest is the southwest corner of Oregon, which stretches right up to Gold Beach, a little bit beyond, but Gold Beach is usually the limit, the northernmost limit for mature date palms. Beyond that, every so often you get a little bit of a cold winter that might take them out, but there are still a few date palms north of Gold Beach. There are probably some at Coos Bay and maybe even some washies, but they will need some help every so often when you get a bad winter every 10 years. But Gold Beach and Brookings, that is the banana belt of the Pacific Northwest. Just like we say we are the banana belt of Canada here in the Southern Gulf Islands. That's what they say here. Banana belt is where we are. The Pindo Palm was $70, not bad. And what size was it? Let me read that. It was a, you said what size it was. Was it a 5-gallon? We have a couple of Pindo Palms in our garden here, Butea capitata, and they're doing very well. There's a few big ones growing on our island in private gardens. They are really nice palms. They're nice pinnate species. I got one right behind me right here. I got to be careful when I get up. I don't know if you can see it. Right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over and point to it. Okay. See that cold pack on my back? That's where it's aching. There's a Pindo Palm right there. You see that? That's a Butea capitata. I think this is its 4th year now. It's really small when we got it. And they're hardy here at this end of the island. They're nice. Palm to have. Put them in full sun and well draining soil. So anyway, yeah, it'll do very well where you are. I think there's some big Pindo palms in your neck of the woods, and like I say, they do grow them up here on the southwest coast of Canada. But you have to be near to the ocean if you're going to grow Pindo palm. They don't want the extreme cold, and they don't want prolonged cold. People are saying people mistake Butia Bordurata for capitata. Well, there's another one that grows here, and people mistaken it for Butia capitata, and it's Aerospatha. And I dug out a big one with my friend. We have a video of it here. He sold his place, and he wanted to take his Butia, so he planted it as a 1 gallon, and now the thing's huge. And we dug it out. It took 3 of us to dig it out. It's very heavy and really heavy to get on the back of the truck, and he transported it to Victoria, and he has it growing in his front yard in James Bay, right by the ocean, near the ocean anyway, and a really beautiful palm. So look up Butia aerospatha. It's got longer, kind of wispier leaves on it and looks very, very tropical. That's one you might want to try as well. Excuse the saw in the background. Wendy's doing some work over there, running her power tools. Yeah, I always call them Butia capitata. I know Ordurata, I think, looks pretty similar. There, like I say, there are some big ones on our coast, and I know if you're inland from the ocean, they're definitely going to need some help in a bad winter, or actually most winters, because the winters are a lot more extreme as you get inland from the coast here, and you probably know that from my videos and me talking about it. Okay, so the best place to grow palms in BC is along the Pacific coast. Within 10 kilometers from the Pacific Ocean, they're going to grow best. Anywhere inland from that, the winters are a lot colder, right? So there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some big Trachycarpus palms growing inland from the ocean about 30, 40 miles, 40 miles southeast of Vancouver. And I'm amazed that they've grown so long out there for so many years. And some of them are about 20 feet tall. And I know some that are probably actually my friend's yard, and he's 8A, 8B. They're up getting close to 30 feet tall. We planted them 30 years ago, 3 decades ago in 1990. I got him into growing palm trees, and he planted a bunch of them out there, and I helped him plant them. And some we planted as seedlings, and those are taller than his 2-story house now. It's just amazing. So his house does block out the cold winds from the east, which also helps. So if you're in a colder area and you want to grow palm trees, make sure you plant them in a good microclimate. Okay, that's the key. Good microclimate, out of the winds, and closer to a building is probably better too. Benefit from reflected heat. My starfish cactus is getting big. They get flowers that can get a foot. Wow. Starfish Oh, I think I've seen those before. Those are pretty cool. But that's tropical, right? That one grows inside the house. We do have cactus inside our house. We have a few cactus. I'm not really big on houseplants, but we do have a dwarf Cavendish banana going into the 3rd year. And I did shoot a video of it, and I think I did upload that today or yesterday, and you can see it's doing very well. It is a Musa acuminata, and with our luck, hopefully we will, if we're lucky, hopefully we'll get some fruit on it one day. And that will be the end of that. But you know what? They do produce edible fruit, which is very, very cool. I'm going to have to move this here. Okay, it's the sun is glaring right in my face. I may have to put this. Hang on one sec. I'm going to move this umbrella here. The sun. Okay, I think this might help. Did I do a good job? I think I blocked out the sun. There we go. Awesome. Yeah. So it sounds like you got a good collection of plants there, GD Gardens, and that's awesome. And it's good to be into the plant hobby. It's a healthy, happy hobby, and no stress when you're growing exotic plants. I know a lot of people don't grow exotic plants. They like the run-of-the-mill stuff, like their mugo pines and junipers, and their blue spruce and everything else that is common in people's gardens. But to me, those don't really turn heads. If you're growing palm trees in an area where there's probably not a lot of palm trees, it's going to turn heads. But that was the case here years and years ago. There were palm trees, and there's always been palm trees on our coast, but most of them were hidden away in private gardens. There's very few in public landscapes. But it seems like over the last 30 years or so, they've become very popular here on our Pacific coast. So there's a lot of palm trees here on the Pacific coast, and you don't have to look hard to see a palm tree when you're driving through Vancouver. Vancouver, there's palm trees everywhere, and even in suburbs, you will see street lined with palm trees. Joe, you need to try Ensete Super bum. They are amazing. Super bum. I never heard of that one. I've grown Insete from seed before, a green form ventricosum, and I actually grew a red one, the Morillii, years ago when I lived at my last location. But it became a lot of work. I had to dig it out. Well, actually, no, I didn't dig it out. Sorry, I had it in a massive planter, and then I put it in the ground, and it got really big. And then I dug it out, and I cut the leaves off, and I put it back into the planter, and then I stuck it in the house. A friend of mine down the road there, Hal at Hal's Saloon, has a quite the banana grove you've seen on my videos there, and he has a Ensete ventricosum Morillii, and it got some damage on it this winter, and he did have it partially protected, but it's looking good. It's pumping out the leaves right now, and stay tuned for a video midsummer of that banana because I think it's going to be really big. His baju grow huge, and also I'm going to tell you something about baju. If you grow tissue cultured musabaju, I've found from my experience, they do not never grow as big as the original musabaju plants that came from the original stock. Okay. In the 1990s, I bought 2 flats of tissue cultured liner size musabaju. They're in liners, long tube like liners. The bananas are about this big. I bought 2 flats of them from Tropic to Tropic plants on the mainland south of Vancouver from Ray. And they grew really well. But the complaint I got from the people I sold them to, they never grew as big as the bananas, the original bananas. And I found that too. They just never grew quite as tall. And there's somebody out there that said, well, that's not the case. His seemed to grow big for him, but I've never seen it. I've never seen it. And here on the coast, and a friend of mine too that grows them says, you know what? They never grow quite as big as original musabaju. I've seen musabaju here on our coast go 34 feet tall. And that is no lie. I posted some pictures of some 34-foot tall musabaju bananas in my friend's garden in South Vancouver. I took the photos in the late 1980s, and I asked him, how tall are your bananas? And he said to me, Gerard said to me, he says, you see that flagpole? It's 38 feet tall. The bananas are just 4 feet under the top of that flagpole. They're 34 feet tall to the top of the musabaju leaves. So in the right conditions, they'll grow big. The trunks on them were massive, absolutely massive. So under the right conditions, you can get your musabaju, original musabaju stock, to grow absolutely massive. Ours grow usually about 17, 18 feet tall here, which I think is good enough for me, considering the soil is not super deep, but it's pretty good. And if they were in better soil, they'd be even bigger. GD Gardens, what would baju do in clay mixed with sand? Not that good. I don't think they would grow that big in clay mixed with sand. I think what you got to do is dig out a big area in the clay. Get remember, clay is very poor draining. Okay, even though there's a lot of nutrients in clay, the particles of clay are smaller than a grain of sand, so they pack together tight. So when it rains, the water sits around the roots, and there's more chance of root rot. So what you want to do is dig out a hole in the clay, try to make a raised bed, fill that hole full of maybe some sand and some manure and some good soil, and then build a raised bed on top of it. So now your bananas are above the ground in a raised bed. You could use landscape ties, you could use rocks, you could use logs, and then fill up the good soil. So now you got soil down in the ground, you got soil on top, and you're going to have that good draining soil, and your bananas should grow huge. But give them a good area to grow because they will spread, right? They're like bamboo, they're big, giant rhizotomous herbs, and one banana makes many, okay? People don't realize that bananas are not trees, they're not palms, they are giant herbs, and they are pseudostems, and most of them are made up of water. Each banana stem is made up of a lot of water. That's why you can take a trunk this big and swack it with a machete, and it will cut it in half. There was a guy that recently posted something that lives in Ohio, and he said there was a that actually survived the winter in Ohio. And he posted a picture of it, and I find that very hard to believe. I actually don't believe it. I've been growing bananas since 1989 in our garden, and there's no possible way any banana cane, even the hardiest one, will survive an Ohio winter. The Buckeye State gets too cold, and if it's most of the percentage of that cane is made up of water, well, what does water do when it freezes? It gets cold. It freezes, right? When temperature drops below zero, water freezes, and that's what happened to the banana cane. It would freeze. So there's not a hope, and you know what, that a banana cane could stay standing through a Buckeye State winter. You know what I mean? Here, I've seen them stand. I've seen bananas go right through till spring green. So when it gets cold enough, yeah, banana trunks will freeze down partially here. Most people don't bother protecting their bananas here, and they do freeze down partially if it gets cold enough, if it gets down into the mid 20s, right? But I know Ohio gets a lot colder than the mid 20s Fahrenheit. So I think that guy was pulling our legs. And when he was showing us that banana cane that was just, he said it went through the winter. I think somebody had planted it. Zach from Tennessee actually shared it with me. And then I commented on, and other people were commenting on it too. There's no possible way. It's tough enough even for a Trachycarpus palm to survive even the mildest winter in Ohio. Even in the southern part of Ohio, it would be tough, I think, for a Trachycarpus palm to survive an Ohio winter. You know, if there is one, show me, prove me wrong. I'd like to know. I've been growing palm trees a long time, and I know how much cold a Trachycarpus can handle and the length of cold too. I used to live in zone 8A/8B, and I've seen Trachycarpus freeze, defoliate. Most often they would come back. It was kind of rare that I actually lost one, a good size one from cold, but mostly they would defoliate. So the colder temperatures, they're going to kill them if it's prolonged, right? And that was down into the single digits. So I've seen them lose their fronds and spears. I'm in Georgia, southeast. Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, my son loves go to Georgia. My son was down in Georgia. My youngest son, Trevor, he's going to be 20 soon. He was down in Georgia visiting his best friend in the summertime. And then he was down in Atlanta 2 years before that. He likes Georgia, and I'm sure he'll probably go down there. I don't think he's going to go down this year. I think traveling's kind of off the chart this year. People aren't going to be doing it. And even us, we're scheduled to go to Maui, back to Maui in the fall. But you know what? I may have to cancel our trip because of what's going on in the planet right now. Would I need to protect or mulch most of it? Well, it depends where you are. I think if you never protected your banana plants in Georgia, they're probably always going to bounce back. You get extreme warm temperatures, and even in the wintertime, you can get warm temperatures. It's much different down there than it is up here. Okay, so when we have a bad freeze up here, the daytime temperatures, well, I was going to say the minimum temperatures may dip down into the mid to lower 20s degrees Fahrenheit, but the daytime temperatures barely get above freezing, or sometimes they stay just below freezing, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, is where when you have a freeze, you could get down to probably 17, 18 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes lower, but your daytime temperatures could bounce back up into the 50s and maybe even 60 degrees, and that makes a big difference when you're growing exotic plants. So I would say mulch the ground. That's probably all you have to do is mulch it with leaves. I don't think you have to do too much more to Musabaju in Georgia. It's like I say, you're in a different growing zone down there. It's a different climate down there. Latitude really does make a difference because of the heat units. So even though we are a northern zone 9A here in the Southern Gulf Islands, it is very different than a southern zone 9A. Okay. I mean, you can tell by the vegetation here, the winters are mild. You just have to drive around our island and say, whoa, somebody that's never been to our island before, like, oh my God, how can you grow this here and how can you grow this there? And you're in Canada, I just don't understand it. But you got to remember, we have the Pacific Ocean around us, and the Pacific Ocean regulates our temperatures year round. So there's never really any extremes. This past winter in mid-January, we did have a cold blast around the 14th, 15th, and 16th, and the lowest temperature dropped down to 22.1 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty cold for here. It's pretty rare that we ever get below 20, and that would be in a really bad winter. And that last time that happened was December 2008. Have you spent much time on the other islands, and what is your second favorite island? I like Pender. Okay, I've been to Pender. I've been to Galiano. My uncle's got a place on Pender down on the south end of the North Island. He's had it there for probably 35 years at least or so. He doesn't live there. It's just a summer place. Got a trailer on it. He lives over in White Rock on the mainland. And he recently moved a couple years ago out to near Chilliwack. I think Wannock, somewhere out there by the river. I like Pender Island. If I had to live on another island, be Pender or Saturna. I've never been to Saturna, but I know it's a quieter island. There's about 350 people probably that live there, and the climate is extremely good on Pender and Saturna Island. Drier there, believe it or not, than here. Annual rainfall is actually less than Salt Spring Island, a little bit less. And Saturna Island's would be a great place to live. There's another, I think there's an olive farm there as well. There's one on Pender, but the biggest olive farm in the Southern Gulf Islands is actually here on Salt Spring Island, on the south end of Salt Spring Island. George and Sherry Braun have the olive farm with well over 3,000 olive trees, and they do produce some quality olive oil there. They have an olive oil processing plant on their olive farm. You can Google it, olive farm on Salt Spring Island, just the olive farm. It's quite costly for a bottle of olive oil, but apparently it's some of the best olive oil you will ever taste. They got about 8 varieties of olives growing there. And I noticed he ripped out all the grapes a few years ago. He had a vineyard down in the lower slope, ripped out all the vineyards and planted more olives. So I don't know, maybe he's got 3,500 olive trees, maybe he's got 4,000 olive trees. I don't know. There's a lot of olive trees there, and they harvest the olives in November and December. They're all picked by hand, and you can check out my videos of the olive farm here on Salt Spring Island. It's a beautiful olive farm. It's beautifully manicured. They're always out there working the olive farm. The olive trees are shaped nicely, and I've been out there and they've absolutely been loaded with fruit. This is the only place in Canada, folks, you can grow olives. What's up? I'm dying here. So hot. No, it's nice here. When I started this podcast 36 minutes and 8 seconds ago, it was 18.1 degrees Celsius with 54.1 degree percent humidity. So nice. I know you like the heat. You're liking the heat. Yeah, I don't like the heat that much. Oh, well, when I don't work in it, I'm okay. If it was hot right now, it's okay. But right now, I'll tell you what, it's so comfortable. You don't sweat. There's no bugs. And I'm not cold and I'm not hot. I just feel just nice. And yeah, I actually got a cold pack on my back right now. I got an ice pack on my back, cool my back down because my back is killing me right now. So I got that stuck between my weightlifting belt and my shirt, and my right lower left back is just killer. 31 feels like 41. Yeah, you guys get the humidity there. I was told that by my friends that moved here from Southern Ontario. They moved here. This is their 3rd summer here, and they are palm growers now. I got them to get into palms. He used to watch my videos. They watched my videos when they were there, and there's a nursery, a field-grown palm nursery on the south end of our island. And they actually went down and they'll dig them for you. If you go down there, they'll dig out the palms for you and put them in the tractor, load them up in your truck, and you take them away. So they did a good job of removing 2 palms. A couple years ago, I went to check them out, and they are doing well. So they have 3 palm trees. There's 1 palm tree at their house when they bought it. So they're happy to grow palm trees here on Salt Spring Island. Yeah, 90.1 is pretty toasty. That'll get things growing, that's for sure. Well, right here, everything is growing like a mad. It's like a freaking jungle out here. And soon we're going to have to take the machete to the garden. Just kidding. I'm not going to take a machete to the garden, but some stuff I actually had to prop up because it's all over the place. It is really jungle-like here. When you walk through the front of our jungle garden, it is just a pathway, and there's fatsia trees, and there's bamboos. And I just shot a video of our really, it's more of a rare bamboo, Chicusia, I think that's how you say it, gigantea, you know the one. And it's native to Central and South America. And I've had it in the garden for years. And a friend of mine sent me a picture and says, Joe, looks like our bamboo's flowering. I go, oh, that sucks, because I got my bamboo from them. I dug it out of their garden years ago, and I went down to look at our bamboo clump. It's a huge clump of it. Sure enough, it's all in flower. So you know what happens when bamboo flowers, man? It dies. And that's not the first time we've had bamboo flower in our garden. And you could have an acre of bamboo, and if it flowers, it will all die on you. There's nothing you can really do about it. Hopefully it'll get some seeds and I can grow it. It's more of a rare type bamboo. Generally it goes 30 feet tall, but in the right conditions, it can grow 40 to 50 feet tall. It is a really awesome bamboo. So check out the video of it and Google it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to replace it with some other bamboo when that dies. It's growing in a bamboo grove. It's so thick down there. You walk through this forest of bamboo. I really don't go down there that much. I look at it off this lower sun deck, and there's some palms. There's southern magnolia growing down there, bottlebrush, cordylines, and eucalyptus. But there is a kind of a pathway that goes through there, but I don't go down there that much. GD Gardens, those black bamboo seeds I tried didn't do anything. I think it's kind of tricky growing bamboo from seed. I don't know if it needs stratification. You could try it, try stratifying it, or just Google it. Easiest way to propagate bamboo from seed. Now, there are some major bamboo growers here on Salt Spring Island. The Bamboo Ranch, Doug Box, grows probably 160 to 175 varieties of bamboo on his 6 acres. And he grows it from seed. He's got everything from mozo to vivax growing there. And I was there one time and I says, "Oh, do you have any mozo?" He says, "Yeah, I got lots of mozo. Here's a shovel, go dig." So I dug some out. He just gave it to me. And unfortunately, I moved it twice because it was suffering in the dry weather here, and the canes died on it in the summer. But I think it's rooted in the new spot. So I'm hoping and praying that new canes are going to appear from the ground of that giant mozo timber bamboo. We have Phylostachys bambuzoides vivax. We have black bamboo. We have several clumps of black bamboo. We have Robert Young. We have Areosilicata. We have Sassa palmata. Let's just see, Phylostachys aurea. And we have the Japanese arrow bamboo, the Pseudosassa japonica, and we also have the Barinagra, which is a spotted bamboo. Have you ever seen that one? It's got black spots on it, and more. We have so many species of bamboo. We have Flexiosa. Actually, the Flexiosa went to seed and died. We got some stuff down by in the back 40 by our swamp where I grow all the Swampsonii palms. We have a massive grove of bamboo down there. I don't know what it is. I planted it a decade ago from one piece of bamboo, and it's this giant grove of bamboo growing beside a swamp cypress. My Washingtonia is growing. Yeah, your Washingtonia, James, will love the heat. They like the heat, and it will be cranking out the fronds. They grow very, very fast. They grow fast here, but they grow faster where you are. I can't wait to go back to Victoria, and I'll shoot a video of. There's a big one growing in front of the Empress Hotel in Victoria. I think it's got about 10 feet of trunk on it. And I was there in January. I shot a video of it, and it's growing beside a big sable palmetto. And we'll see how they do. I think it'll do very well there. It's growing right across the street from the Victoria Inner Harbor. Very mild 9A location. Some big camarops growing beside it too. And they had echiums, and there's trachycarpus. So sable palmetto is going to grow slow here, but it should be pretty hardy in that area. Humidity here got to 96 GD guards. Ooh, that is high humidity. So that makes the temperature, when the humidex is that high, that makes the temperature feel way higher. So if you have a temperature of 80 degrees Fahrenheit and you have 96% humidity, that's feeling like it's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So basically you're sitting there. If I was sitting here and temperatures were that hot, I would be dripping with sweat and my clothes would be stuck to me. And the only humidity I've ever encountered like that was when I was in Jamaica. I went into the jungle, and it was the Jamaican jungle, and it was pretty humid down there. And it was in Florida when I was in Miami. It was pretty humid too. I don't think it was that high, but I did feel kind of tacky. I got to come down there and check out your place these times, Joe. How is everything going on the island? Yeah. Well, where there was no reported cases of that here on Salt Spring. Okay, so things are starting to open up. 2 days ago, I went to the physiotherapist. I had to go to physio, and I got acupuncture for my lower back because I damaged it a couple weeks ago planting bamboo, no doubt. But before you even enter that shop, okay, the physio shop, there's a big sign on the door. You have to wear a mask. You have to sterilize your hands, and then they ask you a whole series of questions. Have you been off the island? Have you been in contact with anybody that's been on? Have you traveled? Blah, 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 blah. And anyway, I passed the test, so I got to go in. Work done on me. But yeah, there's a couple of restaurants that are opened up, and things are slowly but surely getting back to normal. But people are keeping their distance. The curve has pretty much been flat in BC. There's really not a lot of new cases that are happening here. So this is a safe place to be. I don't feel threatened by the pandemic whatsoever, and I really never have. It's been really good. Yep, I'm dripping. I am just sitting here trying to eat dinner, dripping from my. Oh God, yeah, I know that's hot. The humidity. It's 4:29 p.m. Pacific time here, and like I say, the last time I checked the temperature, our weather station was recording 18.1. It could be cooler or it could be warmer depending where you are on Salt Spring Island. Okay, so I'm guessing it's probably a couple of degrees warmer. If you were inland at the olive farm, it could be raining. It could be pouring rain down there. Often you'll be in one area and it's raining, and you move to another area, you drive 5 minutes away, and the sun could be shining with scattered clouds. That's the way it works here because of topography. So at this end of the island, it's quite nice. And like I say, we are close to the ocean here. We have the ocean right around us, so there are never any extremes. Maybe we will get 1 or 2 humid days all summer, and I know it. I feel it, especially when I'm at work. Us parks guys at work, we feel the humidity, and that's when we start to complain. When we get a bit of humidity and we start to get a little tacky, we go, oh, this is not good. But hopefully that happens towards the end of the day when we're checking out for the day. But if it happens in the morning, and it often happens if you get a rain and then it gets up to 75 or 80 degrees, then it's going to get humid. But we don't get a lot of summer rain, so we don't really have to worry about that. Do you think I could grow them here? Grizzly Travis, where are you again, Grizzly? Whereabouts are you? Give me the dirt. Give me your location. You know where I am, right? I'm in the Southern Gulf Islands of British Columbia. Where are you located in Canada or the U.S.? I know James is in Ontario and GD Gardens is in Atlanta, and you are somewhere in Canada, I'm guessing. Yeah. So are you talking about palms? And what type of palms do you want to grow in your location? That's the thing, you get people from out in the Eastern Fraser Valley that go to Vancouver, Columbia Gorge near the Dalles, Oregon. Well, I'll tell you what, there's lots of palm trees in Portland. I don't know how far Dalles. I've been to the Columbia Gorge. I've been right on the Columbia Gorge. How far is that from Portland? Are you pretty near Portland, Oregon? There's lots of palm trees in Portland and all the way down I-5. But the farther you get inland, the colder it gets. So Portland, Oregon is probably at least 60 miles inland from Seaside, from the coast, right? Or Astoria. So it definitely gets colder there in the winter, but it also gets a lot hotter summers. So if you're anywhere near Portland, you can grow Trachycarpus fortunei. You could grow some sable minor palms. And you know what? Heck, I'd even try sable palmetto there. They get the heat in Portland. 75 miles upriver. Okay, so you're a lot colder. And I'll tell you what, with the Columbia River Gorge, you are subject to outflow winds in the winter, okay? You are subject to very cold outflow winds that funnel through the Columbia River Gorge, and I think Portland also gets those too. So if you're going to grow a Trachycarpus fortunei, plant it in a very sheltered location and give it some winter protection. You can wrap it up with burlap, and like wrapping the trunk in burlap doesn't do a whole lot, but wrap the whole thing up in burlap during the coldest time and put it on the west side of your house so you're not going to get those outflow winds. So if you plant a Trachycarpus on the coldest side of your house, most likely it's going to get damaged in the wintertime. It could get killed. I don't know. Give me your lowest temperatures. How cold do you get in the wintertime? I'm guessing you do drop below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. You probably get into the teens. You probably do get down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit occasionally, and possibly even lower. And 75 miles inland makes a difference. I know if you go out into Chilliwack, into the Eastern Fraser Valley, you really don't see palm trees out there. There might be the odd one in a sheltered location that's going to need some protection. But as you get nearer to the coast, that's where you're going to start to see palm trees because the winters are milder. But I would try one if I were you. Just, look at your garden, walk around your garden, and look for the mildest microclimate in your garden. We got to 5 degrees Fahrenheit at least 2 or 3 days. Okay, so 5 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty cold, but that necessarily is not going to kill a Trachycarpus fortunei. It'll defoliate it at 5 degrees Fahrenheit. I would definitely put it in a sheltered location, wrap it up during the cold blast, and I think you're good to go. Let's just see. If you want to, watch. James got a good video on how to protect palm trees. James lives in Ontario, Grizzly, and he grows palm trees, and I think he's in zone 6. So watch his video because you can protect them, and there's easy ways to protect palms. There are about 5 of them in a restaurant down by the river, but I'm uphill from it. Uphill. Oh, no, that's good. Uphill is even better. I'll tell you what, uphill is better than downhill, okay? Some people don't understand this, okay? If you're going to grow palms, don't grow them here, grow them up here because cold air is like water and it flows downhill and it sits in low spots. That's why they call it a frost pocket, okay? Our garden is up here and it's on a slope. Our whole garden is on a slope, okay? And I picked this spot specifically because it was on a slope. So all the cold air drains away from our garden. So it's not a frost pocket. Down in the ravine is a frost pocket. So you know what? 7A, 7B, I would definitely try some. But Grizzly, put them on a sheltered side of a building, out of those eastern outflow winds, and I think you can. I think you can do it. And like I say, watch the weather. Get yourself. You know what you got to invest in? Invest in a remote sensor thermometer. So get a weather station with a remote sensor. and put it out of the sun. Keep it out of the sun. When you have a thermometer in the sun, it gives you a false reading. Okay, our thermometers are in Stevenson screens, and it's giving us a true, accurate reading. And then you can find out exactly how cold the coldest part of your garden is, because there are microclimates within your garden. Okay, so utilize your microclimates. Microclimates and growing zones, they merge into one another. Okay, so just because they say your place, your area is zone 8A or 7B, maybe there's a zone 8A pocket. Maybe you have a zone 8A pocket up close to your house. So try that out. Try Truckee Carpus 429. Larry Johnson, hey James, try drinking Land Shark beer on your videos. When I drink beer, and I don't drink a lot of beer, but when it gets hot, I drink Bowen Island. We have Bowen Island here, and Wendy loves Kona. What do you drink, Wendy? Kona? We like the Kona. What's Stella? Wendy likes Stella. And of course, Molson. When we go to Hal's Saloon, he will not drink any other beer but Molson. He's full-blown Molson Canadian, hardcore Molson Canadian beer drinker. And Wendy asked him, are there any protesters on your area? No. GD Gardens, there are no protesters here on Salt Spring Island. You got to remember, we're very far from Vancouver, right? So there's no protesters here. But there was protesters in Vancouver a couple of days ago, but they were a peaceful protest. They're peaceful protesters up here. So police didn't have to get involved. It was all good. Yeah, so anyway, Hal down the road, he is a Molson Canadian guy. He's a good friend of ours, and he's the banana grower. And the reason he drinks Molson Canadian, hey, Dave or G, the reason he drinks Molson Canadian is, and Wendy asked him this, why do you drink Molson Canadian? You got to watch the Molson Canadian beer commercials. They're the best. He drinks Molson Canadian because there's no preservatives in it, and it doesn't give him a headache. So, and I like Molson Canadian too when I drink a beer. It is actually really good beer. Yeah, I only drink Bud Light usually. Yeah, when I'm in the States, I do. If I'm in on Maui, because it's cheap, we buy it at Costco, and beer is a lot cheaper on Maui than it is here because you don't pay all those darn taxes on it. But I do like Bowen Island. Bowen Island beer is really good. Bowen Island is another island just off of Vancouver, and we have one of the members in our group, people who love palm trees and exotic plants, is on there. Raphael, he's always posting pictures of his garden on Bowen Island. I've been there before. It's quite nice little island. It's a bedroom community kind of Vancouver. You got to take a ferry there. I do like Bud Light, and I also like Coors. I also like Coors Light too. I think they brew that in Canada now too. It's an American beer, but I think they do brew it in Canada. And I don't really like strong beer. My favorite beer, I think, is Kilkenny. That's probably my favorite beer if I drink a beer. The Irish beer with the widget in it, it's nice and smooth and creamy. Kona Big Wave from Hawaii is great. Yep, we drink that too. So that's Wendy drinks that when we're in Hawaii. And when we're sitting on the lanai in Hawaii, it's absolutely good. I got to tell you a recipe to try. You ever try beer can chicken? Now my buddy Hal makes this. So you take a chicken, full chicken, and you stuff the beer can in it, and with the beer in it. I think the beer is probably a little. You can drink a little bit of the beer, but when you're cooking that chicken in your barbecue, the beer it dissipates and the steam goes into the chicken, so it gives the chicken a beer type flavor. It's called beer can chicken. I've never had it, but it's supposed to be really good, and I'm looking forward to trying it and doing it ourselves. And when we do, stay tuned for a video. There's actually a little stand you can get at one of the stores here to put your chicken on, and the beer goes in there, and you stick it up the chicken's butt, your beer can, and like I say, when the beer starts to evaporate, all that beer steam goes into the chicken, and it's supposed to make it taste really super yummy. So that's on my list of things to do. Beer can chicken. David, there have been protests near me, and they have been, oh, that's terrible. Catching things on. I've been watching it on the news, and it's just crazy what's going on. I know, protesting is one thing, but when you start looting and damaging and hurting people, that's a whole nother scenario, man. Those people aren't real protesters. They're cause problems. That's what they're there for. It's kind of like when Canucks didn't win the Stanley Cup. They're in the playoffs. They lost to somebody, and then you get these protesters in there smashing windows, lighting fires, flipping over police cars. Those guys aren't even hockey fans. You know what I mean? They're just troublemakers. So, hey, Kahu, shh. Here's a dog in the distance barking. So that's our 8-pound guard dog. Hey, come here. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Come here. You want a treat? Come here. Come on. I want to bring him up here and say hi to you. Anyway, yeah, there's no protesters here on our island. Getting hungry now and thirsty, Larry. Well, you better go grab yourself a brewski, and you better make yourself a beer can chicken. You know what? You could Google it. YouTube it. I'm sure there's some YouTuber out there that shows you how to make the beer can chicken on the barbecue, and it's a good one. It's supposed to be really, really yummy. Our friend has a smoker. He smokes a lot of his stuff there too. So often at Hal's Saloon, he invites us down for a cold Molson Canadian, and he smokes a lot of meat. He does a lot of local game, local deer, makes sausages, salami, and bacon. Oh, the bacon he makes is the best from the pork belly. He gave us some the other day. I had some Canadian back bacon the other day. Oh, it was to die for. But yeah. Anyway, watch the videos of Hal's Saloon. You can see how his bananas are growing. You can also see his red banana and Sete Morelia. How is your say? Oh, it's doing good. I shot a video of it the other day. Sable Cassarium is doing very, very well. And I've had that palm a long time. And I did put a plastic bag over it for the winter to get a few more heat units, but no artificial heat. Doing very, very well. And pushing out the fronds. Sable minors are going well. And everything else seems to be doing quite well here. Palms and gardens only, he said a couple of streams ago. Palms and gardens only, he said a couple of streams ago. Well, I like palms and gardens too. And I always talk about them every stream. I'm talking about them right now, but sometimes I like to throw some random stuff in there too, like beer can chicken. And I'm going to let you know with my video, with my channel, it mostly is pertaining to palm trees and exotica, but I often throw a random video in there to break up the monotony. Okay, so you will see the odd, just kind of random video I chuck in there just to make things exciting. I have about James, I have about 10 that I got from Christian. Grew them from seed, sable, cassia. Oh, sweet, sweet. They're actually quite a hardy palm. My friend John in Seattle has one he planted in 1989, and that palm is taller than me now. I was down there on a Palm Society garden tour in 1997, and it was a little bit bigger than my sable cassarium, and now it has a trunk on it, well, fat trunk, and quite big. I can actually post a picture that somebody posted. I can post it on People Who Love Palm Trees, and you can see it. I haven't been down to Seattle for a while, but next time I'm down in Seattle, whenever they open up the borders, maybe we'll scoot down there one of these days, and I could shoot a video of it for you. There's a lot of nice palms, and there are some bigger sable palms growing in Seattle in private gardens. Do you think I could grow a type of snow gum in my climate as well? USD 7B. I would try. I would definitely try a eucalyptus. The hardiest snow gum is Eucalyptus debusavilli. I would say it would be hardy down to zone 8A. Long term, okay? Long term. I grew it in zone 8A, and it did get damaged in a very, very bad winter, but it didn't defoliate. The cider gum totally defoliated. Here, I've never seen cider gum defoliate. They absolutely grow monster. You cannot get your arms around them. There's huge gum trees here you could build tree forts in. Eucalyptus debusavilli is a Jonama snow gum, and it is native to the highest mountains in Australia, the top of Kosciuszko. Try it. And also try Eucalyptus parvula. And I would also try Eucalyptus perniana and archeri. Those are good ones too. We have about 24 species of eucalyptus trees in our garden, and they all do very, very well. We got to keep trimming some of them back because they grow like weeds, and they grow year round here, which is interesting too. My only Sable Louisiana is growing slowly but surely. They're nice palms, GD Gardens. We have Sable Louisiana here as well. Sable Louisiana in the garden. We have Sable minor, different ecotypes from Arkansas, Oklahoma. I have Sable Brazoria and Sable Birmingham and Sable Cassarium and Sable Palmetto, small Sable Palmetto as well. And then we have tons in the greenhouse. There's a lot of them in there too. Your gum trees are amazing. Yeah, you're welcome, Grizzly. Yeah, we have a lot of them here. Many I've grown from seed. I'm going to flip this thing around and see if you can see them from here. You can see them on the other side of the house, some of the gum trees. Gum trees all over the place. Gum tree, Central Station. Those ones on the other side of the house are 100 feet tall. All right. And then there's a lot of gum trees in this back garden here as well. There's Eucalyptus parvula here. And I just planted another cider gum up there. I got a few in the greenhouse that I've grown from seed. I got a seed flat of them coming up right now. Mix perniana. I think there's gunnii in there. And I just received some seed a couple weeks ago from Germany of blue gum, Eucalyptus globulus. So I'm going to, I sowed them, and we'll let you know how they do if they come up. There was a big Eucalyptus globulus growing 20 years, and very upset that they cut it down. The people didn't like it there. It was growing at a townhouse complex, absolutely beautiful globulus, Tasmanian snow gum, and they cut it down. They cut down some beautiful 75-foot tall mountain gums, white gum trees, and they cut down a huge nitens. They also cut down one that I planted, a eucalyptus parvula, small leaf gum, beautiful trunk on it, cut that down. So there's probably only about half a dozen ukes growing there now. It was just full of eucalyptus trees. They removed a bunch of the palms. These are people that know nothing about gardening. Just absolutely drives me crazy that the other people on the garden committee, which were my friends, left the complex. They were there for years, and then a new bunch of people take over. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still lots of palm trees and exotic plants there. There's a big neglecta there, beautiful passiflora, huge nitens, huge debusavilli, and then there's a few other ones growing there too. But everything else they cut down. The Perinianas, I don't even know if there's any Perinianas left. I think they cut them down. Well, Joe, gotta go, but it may be back. Okay, GD Gardens, take care. Yeah, we have a lot. If you ever on Salt Spring Island, come here and we will show you what grows here at our end of the island. And like I say, Salt Spring Island's a pretty good size rock, 16.7 miles long. Okay, we're on the very northern tip of the island, so it varies from one end to the other what you're going to be able to grow. A lady phoned me this morning, says, Joe, I need to come to your nursery. I want to buy some palm trees. They sell them at the local store here. They sell my palms at one of the stores in town, one of the grocery stores. And she says, I need some palm trees. So she's going to come up on Saturday. But I asked her, where do you live? And she actually lives in a pretty cold area of Salt Spring Island down on the south end in the valley. So I know there are some palm trees down there, but I don't really see any eucalyptus trees. I know of a snow gum, but I don't see any cider gums or anything. It does get quite a bit colder there. It could be zone 8A, zone 8B where she is. Yeah. Anyway, nice to see you guys in there. This was just a random live stream, and I'm glad we do have a brand new router / modem. They hooked up the other day. Wendy hooked it up. They delivered it, and it seems to be working really well. It's a 2020 version, a brand new one, and it doesn't look like I've cut out at any time. So this makes me happy. I'm live streaming now for 1 hour and 1 minute. Does neglecta tolerate more cold than debusavilli? No, I don't think so. We have neglecta in our garden. There's some massive ones here on Salt Spring Island. I shot a video of a hedge of them growing just up from town, but it's a very hardy plant. They do grow them on the East Coast. I've seen them growing in Delaware and places like that, but I don't think they will ever mature. I think they freeze down when it gets cold, and they grow extremely fast. So that's another one I would try where you are. I would definitely try neglecta because they have really big tropical looking leaves on them. So try eucalyptus neglecta. And they're very oily. The leaves are big and they're very oily, and they're absolutely beautiful. So they have a nice fragrance to them. So eucalyptus neglecta is a good one. If they freeze down, a lot of them have a linotuber and they will regrow back for you, right? So when I lived in Zone 8A, 8B, southeast of Vancouver, bad winter, mountain gum freeze down to the ground. And they'd freeze down every couple of years out there. And they'd come up again, but as a multi-stem tree. And gunny eye would freeze to the ground, multi-stem tree. When you see a eucalyptus as a multi-stem tree and the owner has not cut it back, you know it has froze to the ground. And that's the first thing I look for when I see someone's eucalyptus that's got multi-stems. They say, hey, check out my eucalyptus tree. And I say, okay. I see 4 or 5 trunks coming out of the ground. I said, did you cut that thing back? They said, no. I says, well, then it froze back. So you can't fool me. If they have multi-stems on them and they haven't been coppiced by you, they've been frozen back by old man winter, right? So all of ours are single trunk eucalyptus trees. None of our eucalyptus trees have froze back here, except one partially froze back. December 2008, I had a big nitens at the end of our far driveway from Port Providence, and it froze dead. Trunk on it was about this big. And I'm glad it froze because I had to constantly prune it. It was under the telephone lines, under the wires at the end of the driveway. So that one froze. And then another one that my friend gave me, and he says, this is a pretty tender eucalyptus tree. It froze down just about to the ground, and then it regrew again. And right now it's probably about 20 feet tall. It has not froze since December 2008. And, well, you'd have to see our eucalyptus collection here. If you come to our garden, we have a lot. To walk through our garden, it takes about an hour. That's how big this garden is. From one end to the other, there's a lot of plants. We have hundreds and hundreds of species of plants growing here. We are plant collectors, so it's like a botanical garden. It grows down the front, it goes down the back slope, it goes out the side, it goes everywhere. And it stretches about 330 feet one way, and then 330 feet goes to the back. And then, of course, you got lots of palm trees and exotica growing through the forest as well. But it's a very low maintenance garden. I come home from work, there's no lawn to mow, there's no weeding to do. It's just you have to water some things when it gets dry. And we only water the plants that really need it, but it still does take time to water because we do have the nursery and there's a lot of potted plants. And then when it gets dry out, they're going to need watering every couple of days. Thank God we had a rain yesterday. Oh, I was so happy to see the rain. We had around 15 millimeters of precipitation, and that watered everything down for us. So I'm praying for more rain. June is a funny month here on the Gulf Islands. Us Islanders call it January, and because it can be really inconsistent weather-wise. And, you can have really nice, toasty, dry June, or you can have a mixed bag. And right now we've been having a mixed bag. And I'm kind of liking the mixed bag because what happens when the high pressure locks in? It stays locked in and it just gets so terribly dry. And that's when our gardens suffer and the island gets scary dry. And right now we're in level 3 water restrictions. And apparently all the irrigation in the parks has to be turned off next week. I think by next week, all the irrigation has to be turned off. So it's been a dry spring here. So rain is a welcome relief. And I know a lot of people are opposite than here. They get summer rain and it's drier in the winter. So our rainy months are November, December, and January. And often February can be dry, but in November, December, January, and part of February can be quite wet here. And then it becomes very dry here on the Gulf Islands. So, the forest fire season goes up, the risk, and that's why we always got to be cautious when we're out in the forest. And fires are banned right now. We're not allowed to have any fires here. We do have a little fire pit. We haven't lit it up yet, but we have a fire pit with bricks around it and a screen over top. And I think that's okay, but I think all other fires are banned. All it takes is one spark up into the trees, and away goes the island. So there have been some smaller forest fires while I've lived here, and while I've been coming here, there have been bigger forest fires too. I remember some pretty good sized forest fires. So we would not want Salt Spring Island to burn up because I got a lot of fuel around here. Eucalyptus trees burn like mad, right? You see those big fires in California? A lot of eucalyptus trees. So we don't want any fires around here. Lots of oil in eucalyptus trees. And there's a lot of oil in the native cedar trees too. So they burn up pretty quick as well. So anyway, guys, I will back out of here pretty quick. I'm really happy the way this is going. I'm happy you guys have jumped in there. Nice to see you in there. And Grizzly, Travis, try some palms in your area. Even some hardier palms. Try some sable minor because you're definitely going to get the heat. Try some of the hardier eucalyptus trees. Google the hardiest eucalyptus trees. I know my friend Ian Barkley is keen on eucalyptus. He lives in Sequim, Washington, and he experiments with a lot of eucalyptus trees down there. Sequim is a very interesting place in Washington. It's just across, not that far from Victoria, and across the Juan de Fuca, and they get about 18 inches of rain annually. That's very dry. It's like a desert there. A lot of cactus there too. Yeah, you're welcome there, Grizzly, and thanks for dropping in there. And if you have any eucalyptus questions or palm questions, feel free to ask. And you can comment on the videos. You can jump in there if you're on Facebook on people who love palm trees and exotic plants. There's people always posting pictures of their gardens, what they're doing, and nice to keep people updated. And there's a lot of great gardeners in there that are fountains of information that can point you in the right direction when you're growing palm trees and exotica. And remember, folks, anything that is not native is an exotic plant. And the way I look at it, we're exotic too. We all came from somewhere originally, right? I know my parents' parents came from somewhere. So I guess we're all exotic too, unless you're a First Nations indigenous person, then you're native. But I bet you if you trace that way back, they probably came from somewhere too, right? So anyway, I'm hoping you're liking the palmy background today. We got a few more clouds that have come in, but it is absolutely beautiful out here. And there's right now just a slight breeze coming in off the ocean. And it's all good. Garden's looking good, and I don't have to water. I think what I'm going to do, what I've been doing with my back, because it's so sore, I wrecked it. I've been doing heat pad, and I alternate between heat and ice. So physiotherapy tomorrow, some more acupuncture. Acupuncture is amazing. That really helped out my back. And then I'll be back to normal before you know it. I have 2 Trachycarpus wagnerianus palms to plant. My friend brought us over 2 5-gallon Waggy palms, really nice ones from my other friend in the Palm side. He's a grower, and he has a Wagnerianus palm nursery, locally grown seed, all locally grown palms from local seed he harvests, and he brought us a nice 5-gallon passion. He brought us a goji berry, which is blooming right behind us now, and he brought me a nice chef flera, and he brought Wendy a Alberta spruce. I'm not much into Alberta spruce, thank you very much. They're not my favorite plant. And he also brought us it's like not an echeveria, kind of like a hens and chick, tropical on a big stem. It's absolutely beautiful. So we have that, and we'll have to bring that in the winter time. And I don't know if you can see it from here. I'll bring it around. It's over by the door, right there in the corner. It's kind of got black leaves on it. Looks like a big hens and chicks in that white bucket. See that white bucket that's up high? Beautiful. Anyway, well, folks, let's just see, who do we have here? Great stream, Joe. All right, thanks, Larry. Take care, buddy, and thanks for coming in here. Thanks, James. I appreciate all of you palm nuts and exotic plant freaks for joining me in this stream. And like say, first, now that this is working good with our new router, I'm very happy about this. The first Friday of every month, I'll try to do a live stream between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're around, join in and leave your comments. And hey, we'll have a little chat here or there, palm buddies. There's a lot of you guys out there that like to grow palms. There's people that go to great lengths to grow palms in even colder climates, and I think that's really cool. You know, palm trees are a great plant, and I think there's more people that love palm trees than don't love them, right? There's the odd person that are palm haters, and that upsets me. But hey, to each his own. Anyway, folks, take care. Cheers and aloha from Salt Spring Island. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time on our next live stream. Signing off. And like and subscribe for more videos here on this channel. And also check out Wendy's channel. My wife, she's got Gulf Island Rock. I also have another channel. I actually have 2 other YouTube channels. I have Jungle Joe C. So there's a lot of exotic plant videos on Jungle Joe C. You can also hit me up on Twitter. I am on Twitter, so I'm always posting pictures of tropical plants on Twitter. And then you can also find me on Facebook at Banana Joe. And we do have a lot of groups there as well pertaining to palms. All right. Cheers and aloha, folks. Stay safe out there. Take care. Bye now.